Have you ever felt truly heard, understood, and valued? Or perhaps you've experienced the frustration of speaking into the void, longing for someone to truly listen? Welcome to Insight Junction, where we delve into the depths of human connection through the art of listening. I am your host, Ore, and today we are embarking on a fascinating journey through the perspectives of individuals from different walks of life. Picture this: a raging 20 to 30-year-old student fueled by the fervor of youth and passion, a seasoned 30 to 40-year-old full-time worker navigating the complexities of career and personal growth, and a resilient 40-plus-year-old full-time parent juggling the myriad responsibilities of family life. What do they all have in common? Their experiences with the intricate dance of listening, both the good and the bad. In this mini podcast, we'll explore the highs and lows of being heard and truly understood. From moments of deep connection to frustrating encounters where communication falls short, our guests will share their candid experiences and insights. But before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. Our guests have graciously allowed us to record their actual voices for this episode. So their stories are real, their experiences are authentic, and their voices are their own. So sit back, open your ears, and get ready to embark on a journey through the heart of Insight Junction. Hey Zed, thank you so much for joining me today here in Insight Junction. Before we jump into our discussion on listening, would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners?
Of course. Hey everyone, my name is Zad Dadibalus, a 20-year-old student currently studying BS Psychology at Southwestern University, and I'm thrilled to be here chatting with Ori today.
Wonderful. Thanks for that introduction. Now, let's get into the meat of our conversation. What do you think are the habits of a good listener?
Well, from what I've learned in my studies and personal experiences, good listeners tend to show genuine interest in what the other person is saying. They maintain eye contact, nod in acknowledgement, and clarifying questions to show they are actively engaged in the conversation.
I totally agree. And now, can you share an experience where you felt truly heard by someone exhibiting these habits of a good listener?
There was this time I was stressed about an upcoming exam, and friends sat down with me, really listened to my worries, and offered support without judgment. It felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders.
It's amazing, right? How effective listening can make such a difference. On the other side, what do you consider the habits of a bad listener?
A bad listener tends to be distracted, interrupted, and judgmental. They might constantly check their phone or cut you off mid sentence, making you feel invalidated and important.
Yeah, that sounds frustrating. Have you encountered any experiences with bad listeners that you'd like to share?
Unfortunately, yes. We had a group project where one of our team members constantly dismissed others' ideas and dominated the conversation. It created a negative atmosphere and hindered our ability to collaborate effectively.
Oh, I can imagine. Finally, what do you believe is the importance of listening in communication?
Listening is crucial in fostering mutual understanding and building meaningful connections. It shows respect for others' perspectives and allows for more effective problem solving and conflict resolution.
Well said. Again, thank you so much, Zad, for your valuable insights and for being a part of Insight Junction. Your perspective adds a valuable layer to our discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's welcome our second guest, a full time ESL teacher navigating the virtual classroom. Hello, Miss Study. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Tadi. I'm a full time teacher as an English secondary language or ESL.
Thank you, Miss Study. Without further ado, let's get started. As an ESL teacher, what do you believe are the habits of a good listener?
There are a lot of habits as a good listeners, and I will just mention few of those. So we have like when someone is talking, you need to face them or like have a eye contact or just look at and how they behave in front of you. Those are what we call nonverbal cues because if they feel awkward, they do something like involuntary actions and always don't interrupt when they're talking.
That makes sense. Can you share any experiences you've had with good listeners in your online teaching sessions?
Yeah, as a teacher, you will encounter lots of students, and you can really see if that student is a good listener because they're really looking at the camera and really can share some ideas after that. And you know that they really listen well, not just for directly what to say, but to understand what you really say to them.
Wow, that must be fulfilling to you as his teacher. Now, what about the habits of a bad listener?
The bad habits is the opposite of it. Like they just listened for what to say next, and also like they're jumping to conclusions. They really think that oh I know just like that. They directly interrupt what you really saying.
So it seems like they know it all.
Yes.
And that's challenging. Have you encountered any experiences with bad listeners that you'd like to share?
When you are a teacher, there are a lot of students that didn't want to go to school, and somehow when you're having a class, they didn't listen to you, and when you call their attention, they get mad and say something what's just in their head. So with that, you just keep asking questions that is related to your lesson. That's how you deal with it so that they will understand or learn from you. Especially in online classes, it's really hard to get their attention because you're not face to face interactions, it's just through online.
That sounds tough. Lastly, from your perspective, why do you think listening is important in communication, especially in an online teaching environment?
Yeah, communication is a two-way process without listening, and when there is someone speaking, you need to listen because with that, you cannot have a proper communication and it would lead to misunderstanding. So it's very important to listen and be a good listener as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Tadi, for your valuable insights and for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have me as your guest.
And now let's hear from our final guest, a full time parent of a single son. Welcome, Mrs. Janice. Can you share a bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. I am Janice Alaysa Aro. I am a full time parent and I have a 15-year-old son. And I would just like to share that being a parent has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life.
That is wonderful to hear. Now let's kick things off with our first question. From your perspective as a parent, what do you believe are the habits of a good listener?
Well, as a parent, being a good listener means being fully present and attentive. When my son is speaking, I validate his feelings and I show empathy and understanding. We should offer support and guidance when needed.
Yes, I agree. Those you've mentioned are definitely important qualities a parent must possess. Now, can you share any experiences you've had with good listeners in your role as a parent?
Absolutely. I've had moments where my son felt comfortable opening up to me about his struggles or triumphs, and I made sure to listen attentively and support him in a way I could. And it helped strengthen our bond and allowed him to open up to me more in the future.
That sounds like a powerful moment of connection. On the other hand, what are the habits of a bad listener in your experience as a parent?
Bad listeners in parenting may dismiss their child's feelings, constantly interrupting or fail to provide the emotional support and validation that children need to feel heard and understood. That's very common.
I can see how that could negatively impact the parent child relationship. Have you encountered any specific instances with bad listeners?
Yes, definitely. There have been times when I've seen parents ignore their child's emotions or dismiss their concerns, which can lead to feelings of resentment and a breakdown in communication between parent and child. And it is true, which why sometimes some of the children are hesitant to share to their parents because it all ended up hurting their child's feelings.
That sounds like a really tough situation. Lastly, from your perspective, why do you think listening is important in communication?
Okay, listening is crucial in parenting because it builds trust. It strengthens the parent child bond and allows for open and honest communication, fostering a supportive and nurturing environment where children feel safe to express themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Janice, for being with us today. And I believe that your perspective as a full time parent offers valuable lessons for us on the importance of listening in family dynamics.
Thank you for having me as well.
And there you have it, folks. Three incredible perspectives on the art of listening. As we wrap up today's episode of Insight Junction, I'm left pondering the profound impact of listening in our daily interactions. It was an eye opening to hear their diverse perspectives. One question that arose was whether these habits vary by age or societal status. Well, it seems like some behaviors might differ based on individual experiences, but overall, the core habits of good listeners, like showing empathy, being attentive, and avoiding judgment, seem to be universal. Whether you are a student, a full time worker, or a parent, the importance of active listening transcends age and societal status. Next, let's discuss the importance of listening in communication. Effective listening serves as the foundation of meaningful connections, fostering understanding, empathy, and trust. It's not just about hearing words, it's about truly comprehending and empathizing with the speaker's perspectives. Without good listening skills, misunderstanding can arise, leading to conflicts and breakdowns in communication. Moreover, the impact of effective listening extends beyond individual interactions to shape societal processes. It helps bridge gaps between different perspectives, promotes empathy, and encourages collaboration. By actively listening to diverse voices and perspectives, we can build stronger communities with mutual respect to each. When it comes to promoting understanding among cultures, religions, races, genders, age brackets, socio-economic classes, nationality, and others, listening is truly important. By actively listening and embracing a mindedness of openness and curiosity to diverse voices and experiences, we break down barriers and build bridges of empathy and understanding. This promotes cultural awareness, acceptance, and appreciation for the richness of human diversity, cultivating a more inclusive society. It's through listening that we can celebrate our differences and find common ground. So, as we conclude today's episode, I encourage you, our viewers and listeners, to reflect on your own listening habits. Are you truly listening, or are you simply waiting to speak? Let's strive to become better listeners to create a world where everyone feels heard, valued, and understood. Thank you all for tuning in to Inside Junction. Until next time, keep those ears open and remember the power of listening lies within each of us. Once again, this is Ori signing off from Inside Junction. Take care and keep the conversations flowing.